exciting. Look at all these wonderful people who have joined us from all over. Thank you for coming for our third presentation here on the second night of the 2020 Senior Project Presentations, Quarantine Edition. So just a few announcements because I know some of you are just joining for the first time. Can you make sure that you are muted? So on your screen there, it says you can mute yourself, you can turn your mic off. So just do that. That'll just help there not be any noise in the room. Also, it'll probably be a smoother picture for you if you turn your video off as well, just because it'll be less bandwidth and you'll be able to see the presentation better. So feel free to turn off your camera as well. Okay, I think that's all the technical. Oh, wait, and at the end, one last thing. At the end, there'll be time for questions. And that will be done through the chat function. So there's a little chat thing, and we'll write questions in the chat as we go at the end. Okay? Oh man, this is so exciting. I'm going to call up to the podium here, Isabella Walker. Put your hands together.
From everywhere. All right, so my project is exploring the medical world. I chose this to interview and to job shadow different health professionals about their jobs, about their lives. So I interviewed around, I'd say probably 12 people and job shadowed 4 out of many, many different fields. So I chose this project mainly because I want to be a nurse practitioner, and I don't know, that kind of just was influenced by an early age. I think it started when I was about 4 or 5. I really liked to, bury animals that had died and just take care of my friends and family, and I think that just inspired me to keep going on with this medical adventure. And I also just wanted to really see what my future career would look like, and get my questions answered. So I formulated my questions based off of what people really wanted to hear, off of my burning questions, and help from my mentors. These are just some of the questions I asked. These were probably the most important ones that I asked. Did you ever feel you made the right choice in the field? A lot of people said, they did question, but in the long scheme of things, they did realize that they made the right choice because it's so rewarding to be part of the healthcare team. Do you think everyone has what it takes to be a healthcare professional or a provider? A lot of people said no, you have to have a certain level of care, you have to have a certain level of patience, and it takes a lot of school. Are there things about your job that keep you up at night? So many people answered yes. Either, it's a patient that died, or they feel that they made a mistake, and so it's really hard to get over that, but, that's just what they told me. So, if you could change anything about your job, what would it be? This was a very, very big question, and a lot of people answered that the healthcare system is just really messed up right now, and that's what they wish they could change. So, leading into this, I had a lot of answers around the fact that the healthcare system is really just they're not really good with helping people who are low-income families out. If you, for example, need insulin and it's a life-saving drug, you would need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to just get that one little bottle that'll last you maybe a couple of weeks. The other example that I thought of is that, if your grandma's dying, you don't want to just say, no, she's had a long life, just let her die. You want to help her. You want to do everything you can, even if it's taking a mortgage out on your house or selling, personal items. So these are the people that I interviewed. Alexander Wade, who's a general surgeon, Andy Nelson, who's a pharmacist, Tamsin Morgan, who's a physician assistant, Patrick Brannon, who's an EMT, Jen Eisfeld, who's a nurse midwife, Jen Peterson, who's a pediatrician, Tara Noble, who is a mental health counselor, Jasmine Hudnall, who is a palliative care doctor, Jeff Scheid, who is a nurse that is a really hard word to say, you know what I'm trying to say. Laura Mathis, who is a dietitian, and Patty Wickert, who's a pain management nurse practitioner. And there are a few others that I did not get a chance to interview because of the virus, but I hope to get a chance to do that in the future. So, job shadowing. I chose the people that I chose after just really hearing their stories and really getting inspired by, you know, their lives and wanting to know more. So these are just the people that I shadowed. Erin Schwigum, who is a family nurse practitioner, Tamsin Morgan, who's a physician assistant again, and Jasmine and Emma, who I didn't get the last name, but she actually was the EMT that helped me out when I was in the emergency room. So it was really nice to reconnect with her. These are just some pictures of my shadowing. This was when I was watching surgeries. I watched, I think it was 2 carpal tunnel surgeries and 2 knee replacements. And a lot of people are asking if, you know, that made me feel nauseous or anything, but it actually, because I grew up watching Grey's Anatomy and shows like that, it actually made me feel a lot better and happy that I got to be in a room like that. This is Tamsin Morgan. I have to say that even though she is not my mentor in this project, she is definitely my mentor in life. Interviewing her felt just really easy, and I wanted to get to know her more. And I just kind of felt like I really connected to her on a personal level when I first interviewed her and saw her. So her process through the whole day is she goes through paperwork in the morning, and then she sees patients. And every time I saw her with a patient, it was just amazing. She knew exactly what to say. She knew exactly what to do to help, and it just felt really awesome to see her work. This was a picture of my chance at doing my first IV. It took a couple of tries because the blood kind of kept squirting everywhere, but or the juice or whatever they put in the IV bag. But after that, I finally got it, and I got really excited. This was during my shadowing with Jasmine Hudnall. They have a little classroom for new interns where they get to practice. And this was one of the rooms. This is what like a typical operating room would look like. This is just another view. And then this is me, Jasmine, and one of her interns. So this is Emma. The experience that I had with just like in the ER was really, really amazing. It was also really hard to see because we saw a lot of patients in very difficult situations. But the whole experience really helped me grow and just really helped me just see the side of things that people don't really get to see in ERs. I forgot one thing about palliative care. Jasmine really, really helped ease the patient's worry and anxiety when they were fading off. And it just really, it inspired me, like how wonderful she cared for the patients, how she knew what to say. We had a patient that was just, you know, in tears because they were so afraid to die. And she was holding their hand throughout the whole thing and just said that it's okay and you will get to see your loved ones on the other side. And I think that's what inspired me to keep going with my path in the career that I'm choosing. So back to the ER. This was a typical ER room after it's been cleaned. Yeah, so they have like a little chair in the corner and another chair over there, and then they have like a typical sink and all that. So that's that. So my service component. I chose to get my volunteer license at the VMH hospital here in Viroqua because I wanted to see a little more of what it's like to be in a hospital, what it's like to help people without having your certificate to provide care. So this is just a picture of me getting my license, my certificate, or whatever you want to call it. I was just really happy. It was a 6-hour class, but I got through it and got my little badge. Though I couldn't show you the inside or like any of the children that I was watching, I also took care of children. I was a substitute teacher at a Montessori school here in Viroqua, and that experience was really, really amazing. I started out this project wanting to go into pediatric care, and it just was really awesome to, really watch the children grow, really hear what they have to say, and hear their thoughts, and it was just an amazing experience. So from this project, I have learned so much. I'd have to say that probably the most important thing that I learned is that it really does take a lot of patience, and you really do have to care about your patients. Sorry, I said it. The other thing is that it is really rewarding. After all the schoolwork that you've gotten through, after all the training, you get to actually practice your medicine and provide for patients. And I think it's a really great job. Being able to have gratitude for your patients and have them have gratitude for you is really beautiful. So before I move on to thank yous, I wanted to say that my final decision, after all of this, even with the coronavirus and all of that, my decision has not changed. I do want to go into the medical field. I really, really do. I'm excited to start my schooling, and I'm just, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm just really, really excited to be able to care for patients. All right, so I would like to thank my mentors first, Jen Eisfelt, Fran Raymond, and Jasmine Hudnall for just being amazing supporters and helping me through this process. I don't think I would be able to do this project without them. I know normally people choose one, but I had to choose 3 because I couldn't pick one. So, and then I would also like to thank my advisor, Sean Lavoy. He has really helped with his fist pumping and all. He's just really helped me really clarify my project and get through it. I would also like to thank the hospital here in Viroqua and the clinic in Lafarge for letting me shadow and for letting me volunteer. And last but not least, I would like to thank my friends and my family for just being there throughout everything. So, questions?
All right. Oh man, the messages are just flowing in. They're just flowing in. So, you've got it, Izzy. Yeah, Isabella. Awesome job. What was the most profound, memorable thing you witnessed while shadowing?
I'd have to say in palliative care, there was a lot of really, really hard moments. We watched a couple of patients, who were very, very, very close to death. And, I've had a lot of death in my life. And so for me, it just comes natural to have sympathy and to kind of support the family. So being able to, be in such a profound, experience as that, just being able to shadow in such an amazing field was just it just felt so good, and I felt this overwhelming love and warmth just from the whole, I don't know what to call it, but the whole area of the hospital.
Great. Congratulations. Where are you going to go to school? Excellent job.
Well, so first I'm going to take a gap year because I need a break. But I am hoping to start off by going to MCTC in Minneapolis. It's a technical college. I just want to go over some things that I need to do before I go into school, but then I'm hoping to go to the University of Minnesota, Rochester. That's my choice.
Cool. People are very proud of you. What was the most surprising thing that you heard from a provider?
Oh.
That's from Jen.
Let's see. I'm trying to think here because there are so many things. The one thing that I did hear in the emergency room was one of the nurses just say, like, you know, like, it's amazing that we care for these people and yet they're not gracious to us sometimes. Like, when you're in an emergency situation, it's really hard to, you know, like find love and all that for your provider because you got here because it was your own fault or something happened to you. So I think that was one of the most surprising things I've heard.
Wonderful job. We're wondering what's the most important thing you learned about yourself during this experience. That's from Dodie.
To really have gratitude for everyone, no matter what brought them in. Yeah, it's really hard to, you know, appreciate everyone, but you really need to, you know, if you're providing for someone, you really have to have a certain amount of respect for them. And sometimes that comes pretty difficult for, you know, some patients because when I was at, I think it was with Tamsin Morgan, we saw a patient that was in a very difficult space. And so it was really difficult to have compassion for them. But I think that's probably one of the most important things.
Did you decide on a specific profession within the medical field after your shadowing?
Yes, I forgot to mention this. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. So, after I shadowed Jeff Scheid, interviewed him, he suggested, you know, yeah, pediatrics is great, but why don't you just go general? Because if you get sick of, you know, just taking care of children who are very sick, you know, you're not going to be able to, switch. You would have to go back to school and relearn everything. So I think after this, I am deciding to go general because I just feel like it's a better fit. Therefore, I can go into pediatric or palliative care or pediatric care. So, yeah.
That was from Paula. Good luck, Isabella. That's from Alex Wade, medical doctor. Fantastic, inspirational was the experience of having to be gowned and sterile in the surgery theater. What was the experience of having to be gowned and sterile in the surgical theater like? Was the process challenging?
Well, for me, because I wasn't performing the surgery, I just had to put on these little booties that you put over your shoes and the scrubs and the mask and the eyeglasses and, you know, all of that. But it was not really difficult. You just had to wash your hands and then you would enter there, and it really did feel like I was in a show. There were two other students who were shadowing with me, and one of them by the end of it looked like they were going to pass out, and the other was just so interested and wanted to get closer, but you know, one of the people had to be like, okay, you need to just go behind the line. It was a really profound experience, I'd have to say.
What area of medicine that you explored drew you in the most? Was there any area you explored that was definitely no, not for me?
Yeah, I'd have to say that when I was shadowing Tamsin Morgan, that really brought me into wanting to learn more about, you know, being a physician assistant or just the kind of care that they do, just because of her love and compassion for all her patients. The one that I would say is probably a no for me is becoming an EMT, which is funny because that's actually what I was wanting to do for my project before this. So shadowing an EMT, you know, they work, I think, 24 to 48 hour shifts. And so doing that would just be really challenging for me. That's on the road. If you're in the emergency room, you're only working 12, but just the whole experience, what I witness is you don't really get treated as well. You don't get treated as equal to all the other nurses or doctors. So I think that would probably be the one that I don't like.
This is from Anna Schedler. Did you talk to people about how they stayed mentally strong under the stress of medical emergency situations?
I did not, but part of the interviewing that did kind of come out that that's how they became sane over all these years, as some of them would just come home from a really long day of work and be able to love their family and just be there, and I think that's how a lot of them stayed sane in their workplace and all that. And that's how I answer the question.
Awesome. I think we could maybe clap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah!